The Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday Fan Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday Podcast, made possible by our lovely and dear friends at the Riverside Cafe on Catchbar Lane, where Belgian Blue is still going strong. Still Christmas, isn't it? Right, I'm James, one of a trio of crackpot Wednesdayites. No, I don't know where I'm going with that. There's three of us. I'm one. Victoria is another. Hello.
Hiya. Yeah, right. I'm not on the Belgian Blue. Obs. I had I can just to inform you, the Riverside Cafe sell an alcohol-free Erdinger, which is awful.
Yeah, I've heard it's awful from a few people.
Yeah, but they sell Beck's Blue, and Beck's Blue's fine. That tastes like beer. Like, that's fine. Erdinger, horrible.
Well, not long to go now. What is it? Another week and a bit?
Another week and a bit. Fulham, not Fulham away. Why do I keep saying that? Ipswich away. That's my moment.
That's your target.
Oh, it's like a Marty McCutcheon moment. That's it. That's where I'm going.
And please also welcome back the artist formerly known as Dicky Owl, now known as Dicky Face. It's Rich.
Hi there. How you doing?
Did you like that?
Delighted to be back, and Belgian Blue's great through a straw when you've got a face that's a bit droopy.
We need to explain this, though, because this won't mean anything. Because you've kind of been away for a little while, but with good reason.
I was getting bored of being negative about Wednesday, and it was doing me head in. And I've actually started to enjoy it again for a few different reasons, not just because Joss has gone, but for a few different reasons. And I'm gonna match with my proper mates again, which is good, and I'm having a good time with them. So we're having and then I got a.
Then your face fell off.
My face. I got a paralysed right hand side of my face. And yeah, it was making me slobber. So I was due to come back 2 weeks ago, but then I just couldn't. Was slobbering whenever I was drinking, and that's why I ended up drinking Belgian Blue through a straw in the Riverside Cafe.
I had to go out for lunch with him, James. It was awful. It was like I was being paid £8 something an hour.
Hang on, no. Who was the one that actually spilt down themselves?
Yeah, that's true. No, I did. Me. I thought Diet Coke was me.
Oh dear! It was like sat with somebody special.
We're having like a competition as to who could look the silliest.
I know. He was all moaning about it, and the next thing I was just chatting away and just threw Diet Coke. Just literally didn't even have a straw. Just threw it down myself. I don't know what was going on. It was lunchtime. I was driving. It's dry January. I was on Diet Coke. There are so many reasons why that shouldn't have happened, but yeah, it did. Yeah. And then also, Rich, I mentioned it the other week, I don't know if you've heard, but then we had the Luton game at home, and you ended up with the pleasure of sitting next to me out of every other seat in the ground.
That was a bit random, yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, I turned up and I'm like, what are you doing Saturday? It's my seat. This is mine. So yeah, that was a bit random. But yeah.
I was the one seat that had broken up your group.
Yeah, I did ask him, don't put me next to Vic, and
most people do, Paul.
Yeah.
Right then, let's talk about a bit of football, and well, let's rewind then to 2:00 Saturday. I'm drinking Belgian Blue with my actual mouth. Rich, you're drinking Belgian Blue through your straw.
Not through a straw this weekend. I managed without a straw this weekend. I managed to just.
Back to
we were both drinking rather down my face. Yeah.
Very good. So we're both drinking Belgian Blue in the normal way.
Yeah.
Vic drinking a weird Erdinger soil beer thing. Yeah. Team news comes out, and Westwood, Hutch back in the team, along with Matthias also back in the team. Any surprises, Rich? What were you kind of thinking where the team came out?
Do you know what? It's actually nice to have a look at. See, I was getting to a point where I was getting upset before the game, looking at the team sheet. I'm like, oh my God. Why are we playing these players? Why are they playing these? But actually, for the last kind of couple of months or so, I've looked at the team sheet and thought, yeah, that's all right. I'm happy with that. And that's exactly how I felt on Saturday. Looked at it. Yeah, that's fine. Put it down. Don't worry about it. Don't mump about it. Just carry on with your conversation and pouring Belgian Blue down my face. Jobs are good.
Good stuff. All right, so Vic, let's chat a bit about the first half, because it was a little bit on the slow side first half.
Was it as bad as everybody's making out, though? Really? Was it? I mean,
no, it wasn't, was it? You're right.
It wasn't awful. It wasn't great, but honestly, the people that were moaning at half time, even Andy and Rich that I go and stand with, I was like, for Christ's sake, this isn't anywhere near as bad as we're used to. And we've still not got old Stevie B in charge. So I quite enjoyed myself. I had a lovely day. James. And I got out of house. And that's what matters, really.
Oh.
Yeah. But no,
is this what happens to you when you don't have beer?
Yeah.
You have a lovely time.
I have a lovely time.
Was the problem in the first half not the fact that Wigan were clearly there for the taking, and we just couldn't we were knocking the ball around in tiny little kind of circles and triangles and just not really going anywhere?
We've started doing something, Barry Bannon more than anybody, but since Jos left, we've started doing this one-touch passing. And sometimes it works and it looks unbelievable. Like sometimes somebody will just get a ball and just quickly, poof, and it'll go 30 yards straight across to Liam Palmer or whatever. But also, it'll occasionally just hit a midfielder in the face or whatever else. So it does work, but we're also not quite Barcelona yet. And I don't really... It's as if like there's no in between. There's no one touch pass or, control and think about it and then pass the ball. It just seems to be this, I hate it, Stuart Gray's phase. There's a lot of tippy tappy football going on. It was just, they were there for the taking. Like you said, Westwood might as well not have even been there first half. It could have been like the rest of the season, but it wasn't that bad. I'm sorry. I hate to be a bit positive about this.
I agree with you, Vic.
Dan Fudge will be screaming at his phone listening to this.
I quite enjoyed the game on Saturday. It was kind of... I don't think we've got another gear at the minute. I think it's in there, but it's not kicking in at the minute. I was talking to somebody on the way out about, relegation and stuff like that, and there are at least 3 or more teams much worse than us. And that makes me feel that we're not going to have any worries about, a relegation dogfight. We're just going to end up finishing mid-table, whether that be between 10th and 16th or 17th or whatever. But I'm happy with it a minute because we've seen a lot worse this season. We have, and recently it's been all right. I think the Luton, the first game was pants, and then losing away at where did we lose? And it's escaping me right now. Wherever we lost the last away game. Hull, yes, it was very poor, but I thought we were all right on Saturday, and I was happy walking out. I was walking out with a smile on my face. So I think it's just lowering your expectations sometimes, and just taking it on board and enjoy good in the match, having a good time, having a few beers, and then just hope the football, makes you smile a little bit more.
Would it be fair to refer to Saturday as being kind of a functional win? We just kind of did what we had to do to get 3 points out of that game.
Without upping that gear. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you don't get any more points for winning a game 5-0 than you do winning a game 1-0. It's worth noting, we're going to be going into February having not won a game by more than one goal yet this season. Now, that doesn't, as I said, it doesn't really matter. It's just we that kind of stepping up a gear that you talk about there, Rich. We just don't seem to have it.
We haven't at the minute. I don't think we have got that stepping up a gear. And while I'd love to see 3 and 4 goals every game and as actually making it safe and not doing it the Wednesday way, I'll take 1-0s all day long. If you give me a 1-0 win every game, I'll take it. It's a transitional season, I think is a good term to use right now, and we just got to see this season out and then hopefully see how next season develops.
Okay. Yep. Let's talk about a couple of individual performances. Some players that kind of shone a bit on Saturday, maybe a couple that maybe didn't seem to, certainly in the first half, perform as well. Vic, what's your take on... We've seen George Boyd back in the team for a few games now. Now, he's certainly put in a couple of good performances and then maybe a couple of games where he's not quite made as much of an impact. What do you kind of make of him on Saturday? What are you kind of making generally to Boyd being in the team at the moment?
I think just before I start here, is it George Boyd that's got the funny eye like me?
I believe it is, yes.
So there were a couple of points over the last few weeks that, and like, I live this life, George. If you want to talk about it, babe, I'm also blind in one eye. But there are some points that I genuinely, because I know how life is in that situation, if that makes sense, I completely understand where things have gone wrong or whatever. But there were so many points on Saturday that people were picking on him or shouting at him, and I thought, do you know what? He's actually, I think, in the last 3 or 4 games, bar Hull, was it Hull? Yeah, Hull. He was a bit wank, wasn't he? Let's be honest. But weren't we all? Yeah. But I honestly think he's coming into his own. He's showing, I mean, there were stats beforehand. I think it was Joe Kranz shared some stats about the fact that he covers so much grass and whatever else when he's playing, and he completes so many passes. And we were like, ooh, George Boyd, are you kidding? And actually, I get it now. There were a couple of points on Saturday that the ball came over his head from from the right-hand side, I think it was. And he seemed to be quite confused as to where it had gone. And I know to a lot of people in the stand, people are like, what the fuck are you doing? How can you not see the ball? Do you know what? When you can't see out of one eye, it's pretty fucking difficult to see something coming and landing over your head. So I kind of, I feel like we have a bond. I feel like if I didn't pluck my beard, we'd look exactly the same, which we would. If me and James had a baby, it would be George Boyd. Like, can you imagine? But no, I feel for him. I feel about that. Why? I've got the long hair. You got the beard. We're both.
Yeah, I don't think that's something James is worried about.
It's happening, babe. But no, I do really feel. I think he's made a career out of something that could have. You know, I could have a blue badge if I wanted to. He's playing football. Happy days. Go, George.
Okay. Rich, right? Here's some things at the moment that are really fashionable, okay? Using the phrase, living your best life, that's really trendy. Everyone's doing that.
Is it?
Posting, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Posting the 10-year challenge on social media, that's really fashionable at the moment. And talking about how good Morgan Fox is, that seems to be very fashionable as well at the moment.
That is quite worrying, isn't it? But yeah, I must admit, I think going back to I think it was a Birmingham game, and just to cut, I thought it was that game that that both him and Palmer seemed to have actually kind of settled in finally, and I can't fault them at the minute. And say with Boyd, I thought Boyd against Birmingham had his best game for the club, without a doubt. And since that, they've all been pretty steady eddies, and I think probably because they've had a bit of trust put in them, we've got a settler back four. We're not dropping somebody when they get the player of the month or whatever, man of the month, or they get dropped. I just think it's kind of, but Fox, I can't knock him at the minute at all. He just seems to be playing a steady eddy, and I think having a little bit of faith in him from the people, you know, Bullen and Agnew and obviously Bruce will have a say in it as well. He's obviously paying benefits for him and for us.
Yeah, Jos going does seem to have made a difference to Fox, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Almost overnight, he does seem to be playing with a bit more assurance, certainly with more confidence.
It's almost like, you know, when people...
he looked like a footballer now, because he looked like a nervous wreck, didn't he, before? He just looked like a mess.
I think it was hard for him playing in front of the Wednesday fans as well, because he was getting absolutely berated. I remember one game, him and Palmer getting from both sides of the ground, and that must be awful to have to play in.
The thing is, though, it was a bit like, you know, like when they were with Jos, and there's quite a few of them that are quite similar with this. And it's a bit of a dodgy analogy, and excuse the Meadowhall mention again. I'm not sponsored by Meadowhall. But you know when people take a toddler around Meadowhall on those, like, lead things? Do you know what I mean? Like, you walk your kid like you would a dog around Meadowhall. It's almost as if someone's cut them on Morgan Fox.
You mean reins?
Yeah,
They're called reins.
All right, well, whatever. I don't have children. Yeah, I've got a dog. It's not a lead. But, like, you know, when people do that, and with Morgan Fox, it was almost like he always got so far and then wasn't allowed to go into that extra quarter of the pitch. It was like there was constant, like, a barrier, whether he'd been told that he shouldn't go past there or whatever. And now he risks it because, and it must come back as well to the fact that we've got Sammy Hutch back in the side, who is that person that can drop back and can cover if needed. But it does feel like, I feel like the abuse for Fox was, I mean, it's always... I think it's always out of place, to be honest, the amount of abuse he got, no matter what he'd done. But I do think now it's been proven more so than ever that actually it was the managerial style. He was being held back, physically held back.
Yeah. I want to give a bit of a kind of a special mention, I guess. Kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Where you don't quite win the award, you get a. Come on, there's a phrase. What is it? Like recognition?
Like
I don't know where it's
a distinction.
Anyway, yeah, something like that. Anyway, I thought Zhao was quite good when he came on. That was all I was trying to get at there. I thought that Zhao, he's kind of this sort of Jekyll and Hyde character, isn't he? And we all know this, that we've both seen different Lucas Zhao's play, but I thought the one on Saturday looked really good. And,
so much potential in there.
It changed the game, didn't it? I think him just being on it, just suddenly we had more impetus. He was playing in that sort of, when he's in that form that he could have beat any man on that day on Saturday. But I've got to say, I mean, how good was Stephen Fletcher on Saturday? I just
absolutely
thought he was
fantastic. Yeah,
just superb. And we've talked plenty of times, haven't we, about just how
intelligent,
how good a footballer he is, and the experience that he's got, and how he uses that, and he also uses it, in conjunction with the stuff that he's good at, and the stuff that he's not very good at, to just kind of develop and use the qualities and the skills that he's got to the very best. And he's not the kind of player that you kind of put down as someone picking up the ball on halfway, running with it, and sticking a 25-yarder in the back of the net. I don't think he's done that for many years, but he certainly did it on Saturday, and it was well deserved. And I mean, just what a cracking goal that was! It was brilliant, wasn't it?
I think the key to Fletcher is we're never going to get 20 goals a season out of him at all. He does that holding up. That
he's a front man.
He's almost a big man. He's almost a big man. Yeah. But he needs something side of him with lightning pace, and I think the 1-0s will turn into 2-0s and 3-0s. But no, don't knock him. He had a fantastic game, and it's good that we're picking out players that we haven't picked out for a while. Like the Foxes, the Palmers, Boyds, Fletchers that we haven't for ages. Said, they've had a really good game, but we're saying it kind of week in, week out at the minute.
I must admit, I remember a while ago, like we were talking, I don't know if you were on, Rich, or whatever, but if your face had fell off. But me and James were saying before about how he is literally the most intelligent player in that team by a mile. Like, because he knows how to make space for other people. He knows how to drop out of space. And do you know what? If you point it out to people, they suddenly realise it and go, oh my God, yeah, you're right. He's just created all that space for Zhao to run through or whatever. And I think his best partnership for me at Hillsborough will always be him and Hooper. Whether that'll ever happen again, who knows? But he's one of those players that, well, that's your 40 grand a week right there, isn't it? 40k a week, that.
Okay, so 3 points then on Saturday against Wigan, a game that on paper before the match, I think we'd all have said, look, we just need to get 3 points from this. We're going into this series of games in the league where they're kind of scrappy games against the teams that are generally either just below us or round about where we are in the table. So a very welcome 3 points. What else is going on? So we've talked a bit about Lucas Zhao. So he got the goal of the month for December, which was his goal at Blackburn. Which when this kind of all came out this week, I kind of remember thinking, God, Blackburn was about 4 years ago. It feels like that long ago, that game. It just feels like a different lifetime ago, because it was one of those games where we were just shocking and didn't really turn up. But Lucas Zhao winning goal of the month, our third goal of the month of the season in the Championship. I mean, this is a bit like the playoff season where we're winning goal of the month. We're just, we're not in the top 6, but apart from that, it's kind of great, this, isn't it? You'll have heard the stats about us being in kind of, the top 4 teams in Europe for scoring goals outside of the box. We're getting something right, aren't we?
Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, we are. It's not completely there at the minute. I think we know that, but it's. it's something better than nothing. And like I said, there's worse teams than us out there right now. That means we'll be all right, I think. But yeah, it's better to watch than it was however long ago Yoss went, beginning of December, or it was end of December, wasn't it? It's better to watch now, without a doubt. It's moments of brilliance, and I guess that's why people like João play for us and they don't play in the Premier League, because they don't do it week in, week out.
Yeah, that's probably true. Right, okay, Rich, you're going to like this now, because for the first time in a long time, we're about to enter somewhere. Can you guess where we're about to enter?
What? The Rumour Lounge.
The Rumour Lounge.
Rumour Lounge.
I'll tell you what, though, it's a bit bare. Wow. There's not a lot going on in it.
And there isn't, is there?
No.
Who's leading it? That's the problem.
There's not a great deal of rumours there either, to be honest. The Rumour Lounge is threadbare, to be honest. So Neeskens Kebado from Kebab. Oh, I can't say it.
Isn't that a sausage?
I can't. I
just on London Road.
I can't say his surname. Kebabo, is that right? Anyway,
we'll go with that. It works.
Yeah, it will do. From Fulham was strongly rumoured on loan about a week ago. Although it seems to have just kind of quieted off a bit, because I think he was on the bench for Fulham.
He came off the bench and played on the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that, on whatever day it was. Sunday, was it? He played Tottenham.
That doesn't sound like the kind of player. Yeah, but he's not about to go out on loan if he's coming off the bench.
I was watching that game and he didn't.
They lost.
He didn't stand out, I'll be honest. But he had 15 minutes, so I'm not going to hold that against him. But we need pace, and if he's got pace, then
that's true. That's true. Yeah, absolutely. That is literally all I've got in the Rumour Lounge.
There's nothing. I had a look on news
else?
now today, and there's a load of they're making.
Has anyone heard about that Terry Henfleet or
again? Terry Henfleet. Are we on for him again? How old is he
from
these days?
Stoke Academy.
Yeah.
About 47 now.
The only kind of rumours you get is from that HITC website. It was they're just making stuff up just to get. It's clickbait, absolute clickbait, and apart from that, there's nothing else. There's no kind of rumours of that Swedish defender. I can't remember the name off the top. Was rumoured in that. Yeah. And then there was a German defender I thought I read a couple of days ago, but apart from that, obviously they're not memorable. I forgot their names already. So,
all right. I'll tell you what's a little bit busier than the Rumour Lounge is the Injury Lounge, which has been jam packed for about 3 years now. So we had
3 years. You've not been able to get in for 20 years. There's a waiting list.
Well, that's just getting past Ben Marshall having his medical. That
is he back?
So we know that Gary Hooper is he back doing some light training? Did it say? And Kieran Lee though's had an injury setback. Yeah.
Kieran Lee, Kieran Lee's dead.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked over both these loads of times, and I mean, the back of my head says maybe Hooper towards the back end of the season, couple of appearances off the bench is not out of the realm of possibility.
I'd love Hooper back. I would absolutely love it.
With Kieran Lee, I just can't see a scenario here other than him having to retire at the end of the season, because he's just setback after setback, and even if he does manage to come through it, is he going to be the same player? It's so hard to see.
Well, I mean, he's the same age as me, isn't he? So he's 31 this year, and I think if you're still out for most of the season at a time at that age, is it time to start doing like your UEFA badges? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just 30, 31, 32 for a midfielder is. It's getting on a bit for a midfielder like Kieran Lee, isn't it? Your Sammy Hutchinsons can go on probably a few years longer. Your Lee Bullens can go on and then move back to centre half. But I think with Kieran Lee, for me, he's a lot of money. He's an outlay that we're not necessarily seeing much benefit from. And it pains me to say it really, really does. It really it's awful.
I'd love to see him back in, but again, we'd love to see Waddle and Sheridan back in, won't we? But they're not going to do the job either because they're too old. So it's. I just think maybe we've had his day with those two guys. Unfortunately, I think Hooper maybe the end of the season might get a contract, but Lee, I don't see coming back. Unfortunately, like I said, they're both out of contracts at the end of the season. So,
yep. Some more positive news. Forestieri back in kind of light training, or was back in light training as of about a week ago. There's been some talk about whether or not he might be. Yeah.
Well, apparently he was, because he was at the club shop, wasn't he, the other day, doing the photos and stuff in Meadowhall.
Yeah.
Apparently he told somebody he's back on Sunday.
Was it today, was there?
No, it wasn't. No, today was Cameron Dawson.
Okay, you stalker.
I know, it's just knew Hugh was last Wednesday, but I just couldn't get the train.
Do you know what? I asked the kids if they wanted to go to Meadowhall straight from school and go see Newey, and Reese went, why would I want to see him for? There we go.
Well, that is a problem with your parenting, Rich. That's not my issue.
It's not. He's a very astute little man, I'll tell you. That's what he is.
But yeah, so he apparently told somebody that he is back for Sunday and he will be in the squad. So, and there were 3 or 4 people that said that who had photos with him. And maybe he's doing a bit of a hutch. I don't know, but I'd love to. Oh, can you imagine? Can we all just? Oh no, we'll get on to that in a minute. But remember when we beat Arsenal at home?
All right, we will get on to Chelsea in a bit. 2 other bits of news to talk about. I'm going to do the one that I know will go down well first, right? So this is the positive news, and it's something we've talked about loads, but it gives us an opportunity to just kind of dwell on this for a little bit longer because. I think it's great that they've done this. So a couple of days ago, All Wednesday, which obviously came out on DVD in time for Christmas, publicly released on the club's YouTube channel so that Wednesdayites around the world, and we know we've got fans in, you name the country, we'll have got some fans that are based there who've either not been able to get hold of the DVD for whatever reason or whatever. But, this kind of opens it up to every Wednesday fan in every part of the world who can now watch what we obviously have we've all seen it a few times now. What is just a superb piece of just a superb piece of film. It really is just a fantastic film. I mean, universally good news, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been talking about today with a few mates in a kind of WhatsApp group we've got, and one of them's seen it for the first time today, and he called it a real tear jerk and a real kind of a good piece of kind of work. And literally the other guys that I've not read them all yet, but they've all pretty much saying the same. It's and Matt's obviously a talented guy, so you can't we can't speak highly enough of him and All Wednesday at all, can we?
Yeah, I found it really interesting watching the comments of people on Twitter watching it for the first time because you kind of forget, so at the showroom way back when, and kind of that feeling the first time that you watch that film, and suddenly all the crap and stuff of being a Wednesday fan, particularly this season, it just all becomes irrelevant. You just forget about it.
Does.
All. And it can't last forever. Reality sets back in, and you kind of think, oh yeah, but this season's been a bit crap, hasn't it, or whatever. But that kind of moment, after just watching the film, and you just think, there's more to it than flipping Jos Luhukay not picking so and so and all the crap that we've kind of had this season. So it's great that everyone's kind of been able to share in that, which is brilliant.
I bought it for the kids at Christmas, and we sat and watched it on, I think it's Christmas Day morning. Watched it with Reese and Riley, well, both of them to be fair, and I sat and blubbed worse than I had done the first 2 times. And I don't want it because I felt I could let go a bit more, not being in a room full of people, but it was just like at home. But I proper, just it was proper sobbing. I don't mind admitting that, but it proper. Riley thought I was a wuss, and Reese was just hugging me. So, yeah, there we go. That's the difference between the 2 kids.
But that's the thing. We, as my family, as you guys all know, because you know them all, we're all huge Wednesday fans. And it came to Christmas Day night, and obviously I bought it for our kid, our Harry, and my uncle as a joint birthday Christmas present, and amongst other stuff. I'm not that tight. But like I gave them that, and like we all gathered round at like I think it was like 7:00 on Christmas Day, and there was even Nanan. Like Nanan's like 105, like she ain't got a clue that she was sat there, and she knew bits that were coming up as well. Because like my nan, well she's not 105, she's 88, but she was there through so much stuff she used to go to with my granddad. She was one of the people that went to the hospitals during the horrendous situation in 1989. She took toothbrushes to people. She did all of that. She got to know people, and it just like the whole thing just lifted us as a family. It was so lovely, and I'm gonna have to buy it on DVD now, so I just want to watch it. Like whenever I'm in a bad mood and I'm just sat with the dog, aka most evenings.
I was about to say most evenings.
I used to have this thing where I'd get drunk and watch the Hartlepool DVD. And I think maybe Matt Exton has taken over from that. Maybe it's going to be that from now on.
Brilliant. Okay, right, Vic. How's your brain at this time of the evening? Are you feeling quite clever, quite intelligent
Sober
right now?
and fresh.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay, right. Here is your challenge. You've got 30 seconds to explain to us Club 1867. Go.
Oh, fuck off.
Excellent.
No, do you know what? I've just opened up a new tab on Google Chrome. Absolutely no way. Right, so basically, all right, here we go. Basically, you can pay £550 per season to be a member of a club. And if it works, you get a free season ticket in the Premier League. And if you get a new owner, they have to adhere to it. And you get a discount off your other ticket in the meantime. So basically, if you pay £500 a season now for your season ticket in the North, say $550, that means next season you'll save 5%, and if we ever go up, you'll get a freebie. Is that right? No? But it means that we'll get...
I think that's near as damn it.
11 million quid in the meantime.
You can pay like £2,500, can't you, for 5 years?
Oh yeah, $3,500 for like whatever it is. Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, I think the highest is 3,200 for the 5-year option in the South stand, which would mean you get 20% off your season tickets in the meantime until we get promoted to the Premier League, and then you'd get 5 years in the Premier League free.
Who doesn't have that cash lying around? Who doesn't?
Well, I kind of think
what's wrong with you, paupers?
All right, but what happens if we get promoted to the Premier League and then we get relegated again, like same season? You only get 1 year of it. You've got to wait another 5 years to claim the second year, or what?
Or if you bounce it on this time, another 19 years.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw someone earlier that said
19 years plus, should I say?
I think it's fair to say it is a tad complex, and there's a lot of because there's also the thing about how if you do it before the end of January, so if you do it in the next week, you get an extra 230 priority points, but you don't get that if you do it after the end. So between the end of January and the middle of February, where this closes, you don't get those points, but you can do it interest free. But you can only do that in the shop. Can't do it interest free if you buy it online. Following all this?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Can we just have a little lie down?
It's confusing. It's complicated, and it's going to take. I think it's going to take us all probably 2 or 3 days to fully kind of figure out what this is and whether or not it's something that we're individually going to be interested in. Now, I mean, we all know the first scheme when it was announced was a flop. It was a real flop. Like almost comedy style. It flopped so badly. Yeah, I mean that's just insane, isn't it? 5 people. When I had a good look through some of the reaction on Twitter earlier, just to kind of try and get a bit of a gauge. Unsurprisingly, it was probably more negative than positive, but there were a few people that were quite positive about it. Now, whether or not they fully understood what it was, I don't know. I think they think that it's just kind of multi-year season tickets again, or certainly a few of them just thought it was multi-year season tickets. They were like, "Oh, five years for this amount's not bad," and you're like, "No, actually, you're still going to buy your season tickets in the meantime."
On top of that, yeah.
But rather than just kind of just slagging it off for the sake of it, what are we? Either of you seeing anything positive about this, or what? What are your kind of thoughts on it? How are you kind of receiving this?
personally, I mean, it's not viable for me. I've got enough on thinking now I'm going to afford 3 season tickets come February, March for me and the kids. So it's not going to work for me. But there's got to be some kind of way that Chelsea makes some money, and this is his attempt at it. I think let's just see how if you can back it. But if you can't, then you've got to back with a season ticket. But my only worry is if it doesn't work, then the finger gets pointed at, and I don't want that to happen. It gets pointed at us because we haven't backed it. That's my only worry about it. I want to try and be positive with this. I want to think, right, well, it's there. Let's just see how it goes. Let's see how it sells and see how it comes out in, and I don't know what the minimum set. I've never got to sell a minimum is, but the pops at the FAQs is that they'll, if they don't sell enough, they'll just scrap the scheme, basically, in so many words. So
that was interesting, wasn't it? Because it doesn't mention anywhere what exactly that is. There's no figure put on it.
And I doubt they'd tell us either if we asked them.
No, probably not. But you kind of think, well, is that kind of required number the amount to cover the FFP black hole? Because that's that would involve pretty much every fan buying into this. It's a lot of money, and I just found myself reading it and thinking. And I know it's such an obvious thing to say, and I just screaming kind of at the computer screen when I was looking at it, just thinking, just sell a fucking player. Just sell a couple of players, and this all goes away. And I don't know why. And I've really got to kind of make this point that going back to the fans forum, which was over a month ago now. Yeah, I think it was about a month ago. And Chansiri saying there that selling players will not help with FFP. There was no further explanation as to what he meant by saying that, and it's not kind of been referred to since. And so, I mean, I very much doubt that he listens to this podcast, but if anyone at the club listens to this podcast, this is almost an appeal. Just please explain to us why selling players will not make this go away overnight. Because as far as I can see, or I think probably most fans can see, that if we've got bids coming in for players of up to £10 million, certainly, one player that we can all think of, and I'm sure there are other players that are attracting interest, then what's this scenario that will not help this FFP problem? Because surely that is a much easier way of solving this. Go on.
So, Mr. Chansiri, okay, so there's 3 of us here who would completely understand his rationale if he turned around tomorrow and said, right, I'm selling Adam Reach for 8 million and I'm selling Barry Bannon for 5 million. Therefore, financial fair play is done, right? But he also has to face probably 20,000 people in a stadium who will not accept that as a reasonable offer. And they will, and to be fair, I'm not saying that I would. I don't know where I would be on that. I don't know how gutted I would be either way. But also, he has got to make a decision between, do I risk my money? Do I cash out for 13 million? Or do I stay put for the opportunity to have these 2 guys as the spine of my team in the Premier League? Is that his option? I know we're getting to the wire and it's, everything's gone to shit, but he's kind of, at the moment, I feel like he's kind of trying to play other cards before he has to go there. And I know we've only got till the end of January, haven't we, really? But we haven't. We have. We've got till April, haven't we? But
no, yeah. I mean, it
is a really risky sort of situation. If he turns around and says, "Right, that's it, Adam Reach, remember our best player in theory." I'm not saying he's not, because I love you, Adam. But are people going to then kick off and say, "Oh my God, he's just sold our best player. Now there's no chance of getting to the Premier League," and Barry Bannon and Wim Jonk or Pavel Srnček, whoever, people will always kick off no matter what if he sells players. If he doesn't, and therefore he asks us to chip in money, which I'm not being funny, I can't afford to do. I don't even know if I can afford a season ticket next year. But then we're going to kick off because he's asking us for money. As much as I hate to stick up for him, it's a rock and a hard place, isn't it?
But it isn't, right? The thing with being and this is not aimed at Mr. Chansiri as such, right? The thing with being a successful football club is knowing when to buy the right players, but also knowing when to sell the right players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, over the last couple of years, a lot of fingers been pointed at whoever's been making decisions on transfers, saying that sometimes we've brought in the wrong players for the wrong amount of money. We've also failed to sell the right players for the right amount of money, right?
100%.
We could have sold Fernando Forestieri for what, 10 to 12 million 2 years ago. We should have taken it. We've had opportunities to sell Kieran Westwood for several £million. We should have taken it. What we've done is not sell players for the right money when we've had the opportunity. And we're staring that situation in the face again right now. Okay. Now, Adam Reach might go on to be better than he currently is. All right. And he's a very good player. Okay. And no doubt about that. But at the moment, his value has been heavily inflated by the fact that he scored some wonder goals in the first half of the season. I don't think any player is going to be able to continue doing that for their entire career. So there's a fair kind of theory there to suggest that maybe Adam Reach's value right now is certainly the highest it's going to get while ever he's playing in a team of this quality. If he plays in a better team, he might get better as a footballer.
But therefore,
is he ever going to be better than he's been in this half of the season?
You've just done it because you are, I'm afraid to tell you, my friend, you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and you have just said that Adam Reach will not score those type of goals for the rest of his career. Therefore, I'm afraid he will, but not at Sheffield Wednesday.
There's an article in today's Star about the market value, and they've got the details from transfermarket.com. Don't know how reliable that is. It's an article in the Star. It's not owned by
Derry, I would suggest.
Yeah, and it's saying it says here that Reach is worth 4 million and Fessy is worth 7 million, according to this. So that's 11. But then you've also got Alman Abdi worth 1.5 million, which kind of starts to put a bit of a mockery, to be fair, when you start reading that. There's some wildly inflated fees here, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Onamar, 3 million. Don't say that. Marco Matthias, 1.5, etc.
Yeah, Hutch was 1.5 as well, wasn't he? And you're like, he's worth that to us, but no one's going to sign Hutch for any sort of money because he's injured all the time, isn't he?
Yeah. If that's, for me, the answer to this is Vesey and Reach. And then let's start again. Let's go back today. We picked up Brunt and was it Glenn Whelan? Glenn Whelan, guys like that. That if we're going to have to go back to that and picking up some guys that we're going to have to bring through, Premier League rejects, whatever you want to call them, I'm happy to go and do that. If we've got if it plugs this financial fair play, ENS, whatever, then let's do it.
It's got to be better than the alternative, which is potentially a transfer embargo for like 2 years, and then there's no one coming in that time. We've got zero squad churn, and actually we've probably got a team of players at the moment that's. And I don't know if Wednesday fans would want to admit it, but it's crying out for squad churn. It's crying out for us to pretty much probably get rid of the nucleus of this squad because it's been unsuccessful for 2 years now, this squad. And it was a squad that was put together to get us into Premier League, and it hasn't done it. So, do we really lose anything by moving some players on and bringing in some fresh players? Yes, Vic?
Can I ask a question on behalf of myself and about 5 or 6 other people that have asked me this question in the last few weeks? And you'll be the man to know this. So if we get rid of X amount of players and we say, right, we have covered financial fair play, we're all good to go, next season we're going to push on. Can we sign emergency loan players in that case? If say, for example, we got rid of 10 players and therefore we had no left backs, we had no strikers, we had no goalkeeper. If that was the case, could we sign? Because I don't get this financial fair play thing. Could we therefore bring in people on emergency bases, and the Football League let us do that? Or I don't get it.
It depends what deal you do with the Football League. What they will do depending on your circumstances and what your how close you are to a breach or whatever. They'll kind of say, right, you're allowed to sign players, but no more than this amount, and you're not allowed to pay wages more than X amount. So it might be that you can only bring in free agents, and you can only spend, say, $2,000 a week on each one on wages. That they'll set kind of a wage cap
Which,
for
in
it.
fairness,
It might be
the free agent thing, we've been there before.
250 grand on players.
That blows the 40 grand a week.
But the thing is, it's not that dire a situation. If we sell 2 or 3 players, then it gives us some in theory, it gives us some wiggle room. Now, look, as Chansiri's pointed out a couple of times, we don't know these figures for definite, so it's all kind of guesswork. But we've guessed pretty well in the past, and it would look like that little bit of squad churn, couple of players moving on. There's a lot of players out of contract in the summer. That frees up a huge amount in terms of the wage bill, and that gives you a real opportunity to reshape the squad. And you're bringing in someone, aren't you, with Steve Bruce, who's got a decent track record at rebuilding squads, and not necessarily, he made a profit at Aston Villa. He brought in more in transfer fees than he spent. So there's certainly it's not out of the realm of possibility that he can do it with the resources. It's just at the moment I just think this kind of barking up this tree of trying to get it through fans. Like I just can't. I don't know if that's going to work. I can't see that. I just can't see it being the right man.
I think we've got the right man in charge to rebuild this, however that is. Whether he goes bargain basement kind of players, or he just starts using his contacts and bringing in some good players. But I don't think that's going to kind of come to any fruition until the summer. Now I think we're going through the rest of the season with what we've got pretty much, but unless he brings in a couple of out of contract players. But I think we've got the right man to kind of for the job.
Right, okay. I'm sure we'll probably talk more about Club 1867 over the next few weeks as kind of it all unravels, and we probably start to understand it a bit better than we do at the moment. So we will no doubt come back to that. For now, let's move on to, I think secretly this is the bit we've all been waiting for to talk about it. So Chelsea on Sunday. First up, it is a sellout in the away end. So just under 6,000 Wednesday fans are going to be there. I'm going to be one of them. Rich, you're going to be one of them as well.
I'll be there with the Reese and Riley too. Yes, with the 3 of us are going. Yeah.
You've got to say, right, for a Sunday night 6 o'clock kickoff, which is just fucking weird. Yeah. 6 o'clock Sunday night. No one's ever said, "Oh, I wish there was a game on Sunday night at 6 o'clock." No one's ever said that. But
I do.
So 6 o'clock Sunday
night.
So do I, but I don't wish there was football games on Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Not in any world. That's for cheesy films. That Sunday evening, it's not football. But I mean, come on, Rich. 6,000 Wednesday fans. What? It's just amazing that we've sort of 30 quid a pop as well. They're not like reduced price tickets either. It's a full price affair. This
is, it's going to be absolutely fantastic for, just to, whether we get whooped, whether we, as long as we go down there, and I think the fans will make it, whatever happens, the fans will make that day. And for me, it's like, it's extra special being able to take the kids with me, because I've been to Chelsea before, I've been there, done it. But the kids haven't seen Wednesday play against Chelsea and Arsenal and Man City, which they've seen the last kind of 2 or 3 seasons, even though we lost 7-0 on one of them. But, it'll be a fantastic atmosphere, absolutely no doubt of that. And I think we're all going down there with no expectations whatsoever to come back with going to the 5th round. So if we do, that's a bonus.
All right, Vic, couple of bits of early team news. One you alluded to earlier, which is the possibility of Fernando Forestieri being involved. On the flip side, we definitely know Michael Hector, because Chelsea, obviously his parent club, and they can, if they want, give him permission to play, but unsurprisingly, they've decided not to do that. So any thoughts on those two?
Happy with Fessy. I think sometimes I think because of the league that we play in, it's a very strange league, the Championship, isn't it? It's a very, very odd league in that you've got a mixture of Premier League players, ex-Premier League players, and League One players trying to make the name and whatever else. And so I think Forestieri sometimes has been booked unfairly. He's been booked very fairly, whereas actually, had it have been Harry Winks or whoever, he probably wouldn't have been. And I think he might well perform against Chelsea, to be honest. With the rest of them, it's no great surprise. If he put out the youth squad, I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest. But I'll be happy with whatever. I think, we've got Chelsea in the fourth round. I think it's great, and I'll be sat at home, very, very warm, while you two are in London.
That's a fair point. It is going to be pretty cold. So, yeah, I mean, obviously you alluded there to possibly some of the younger players coming in or something like that. Rich, what's your thought on this? Do you reckon that we will go full strength?
I think we'll go full strength, to be honest. I think you look at, like Hector's not there, but is he going to play Thornley? I think Padil might even be a shout for bringing in if he's fit. Is he fit? I don't know. But yeah, I think you've got to kind of put a full strength side out. I'm not sure what kind of side they'll put out. Stronger the better for me. Just for the kids to be able to see those kind of players playing against us. But yeah, I think we should go for it. We should put a strong side out and have a go.
Now, I kind of think back to it's probably about 4 or 5, maybe longer than that, years ago now. You mentioned it earlier, Rich, about the Man City away game, and I remember beforehand thinking, I've got a feeling that we could win this game. And I remember it being 0-0 at half time, and me texting my friend who was watching it on TV, entirely legally, obviously, and saying, well, I mean, I'm probably a bit biased, but I think we've matched them man for man in the first half. I can see us going on and winning this game. And then the second half didn't really go according to plan, and we lost 7-0.
Oh, you're talking about the first game? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, I don't want to sort of make any sort of predictions, but they've got a bit of a wobble thing going on at the moment of Chelsea. They've got a few fans who are not really happy with the way some things are kind of going at the moment. I mean, we've got a chance, haven't we, Vic?
Yeah, I reckon so. So Man City away was exactly 4 years ago, because I just got my pup. So it was 4 years ago in September, I think it was. Rosie was a little bear, and I just brought her home. But we've always got a shot, haven't we? It's either a case of they're going to put out their youth team, they're going to put out their fucking over 80s team, who knows? And we might well put out ours. But I'm quite excited to watch it on the telly with a cup of tea.
I'd be much more worried if we're going to somewhere like Liverpool or Man City or Man U at the minute. I'll be honest, but I can't. There is something.
Not something.
You mentioned Spurs far too much.
That's once in one show.
You haven't. You mentioned Harry Winks at one point, and you were rattling on about.
I've mentioned Harry Winks a few times. I'm quite happy.
Okay, so plenty of positivity around these parts, which is good. Should be a cracking day out. Good luck to everyone getting home afterwards. I know we've got people that are kind of exchanging lifts and all kinds of things that have been going on Twitter. Some people going last train back to Sheffield, which will be a right sprint across London. Good luck with that. Some people going last train back to Doncaster, and the very best of luck to everyone. Hope everyone gets home all right, and hopefully we're all on our way home with something to celebrate, which would be absolutely brilliant. That's going to bring us to a close for tonight. And Vic, give us your goodbyes.
Goodbyes. Yeah. Goodbye. You can catch me on Twitter at Victoria1867. I'm really dull at the moment. This last month I've been so boring because at no point have I had any thoughts that have involved crime.
Which last month? Which last month was that?
Well, the last month that I've not had a drink. It's been awful. It's been awful. Honestly, awful. Don't do it. It's not worth it. charity or whatever, and James gets mad at you, it's just not worth the hassle. But if not, I'm not going to Chelsea away, but I am going to Ipswich away. So if I'm not on next week, you can find me in Ipswich. Did I say my Twitter?
Cool.
At Victoria1867.
Very good. And Rich?
Yeah, you can find me at Dicky on Twitter. I don't post much these days, very often, for obvious reasons, because it's like a busman's holiday. But I will attempt to put some bits out on Saturday on the trip. I'm going down on a Wednesday night coach, so that'll be good to kind of catch up with those guys. And I think there's at least 7 Wednesday night coaches going, so it's a bit of an onslaught from them guys. Wow. I know they've been struggling to find other coaches and stewards, etc.
I'm so jealous of you all. Please FaceTime me, all of you.
Well, we'll see.
We will. There'll be. There's going to be plenty going on social media, isn't there? You can just follow it all for the afternoon. I mean, hopefully see some of you knocking around in some pubs on Sunday. You can get me on Twitter at James Marriott. Fingers crossed then for Sunday, and we'll speak to you next week.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe. They do bloody good beer and food in there, you know. No, really, they do.